So it is safe to say it's probably been about a solid year since the last time I reviewed any Bally's or uploaded any videos, but we're going to take a look at a pretty nice one today. This is a great Bally from an awesome maker based out of Arizona. His name is J.Lyons, and this is actually the second knife from him I've had on my channel. I did a review on a V1 Hellcat I had way back in the day, and I also owned a V2 Hellcat, but I ended up selling that before I had a chance to make any video or review it. But the one we're going to check out here today is the Hellcat Slimline Proto number 4. And full disclosure, I do not own this knife. It was sent to me for the purposes of review and feedback, and I'm certainly not complaining. But here it is, let's get into it. The first thing that's immediately noticeable once you pick up the Slimline Proto is just how light it is overall, especially in comparison to the V2 Hellcat that I had. And even though I've got hands that are definitely on the larger size, I do really like and really appreciate these slimmed down handles and slimmed down overall design. Now this is a sandwich style, bearing driven, Zen pin Bally. It comes in at 10 1/8 inches overall. Got a 5.5 inch blade, and the handles are blackened titanium. And believe it or not, this is actually my first time ever handling anything with blackened titanium. So now this guy comes in at 3.95 ounces, which that's really light. I mean, 3.95 ounces, that's pretty light for a Bally, and you notice it. It's got an acid washed AEBL blade, which sports one of Jason's fantastic compound Bowie grinds. I mean, he's just really perfected this style grind. All his blades are hand ground, and they just always look great. The spacers on this guy are these satin titanium barrel style spacers, and I usually don't like barrel style spacers, but with the way the ends of the handles are shaped on this Bally, it does complement and it does flow pretty well. I said this already, but the first thing you notice once you pick up and start flipping this knife is just how light it is. And I mean, somewhat just because of how light it is overall, it's got a very neutral balance and feel to it. I mean, it is just neutrally balanced inherently, and I wouldn't mind seeing the spacers made in some different materials, maybe brass or stainless steel. I at least think it could use just a little bit more junk in the trunk to help balance out that really light feeling overall. It definitely flips really well, and I have extremely few complaints, and I do really enjoy the slimmed down feel. And like I said, this is my first time ever handling anything with black and tie. I don't know why, I've just never bought anything with black and tie before. It's got kind of a grippy feeling to it. It feels almost like a sandblasted finish would feel, except I imagine it's way more durable than a sandblasted finish is. A sandblasted finish will show every little snail trail, every little scuff, every little mark. These handles do have a really healthy chamfer to them, and the bottom of these handles are completely rounded, although I don't really notice that too much when I'm flipping. That's not something I ever really notice at all. One of the very few complaints that I do have is this Zen nipple tends to pinch a little bit. Partly because the profile of the tang is so low, it ends up making these little scoops here. But I imagine if you rounded out the corners of this Zen nipple just a tiny little bit, it would fix that problem without needing to change any of the pivot or tang geometry. This is definitely a Bally that feels and flips on the neutral side. And sometimes when Ballys are just this light overall, they can tend to want to lose momentum a little bit during flipping, but that's not too hard to adjust for, and I like having in my collection a wide range and a wide variety of balance between the Ballys in my collection. The handles on this guy have a nice channel milled down the center, and like I said, they have a nice chamfer to them, which actually tapers as you get up near the pivots, and that's pretty nice because that gives you just a little bit of corner to bite onto during fanning tricks. As I've come to expect from Jason, his blade grinds are always super clean, and his edge bevels are damn near perfect and always lightsaber sharp. And edges are one of those things I tend to be really picky about, and he just crushes it every single time. The spine on this blade has kind of a combination crown chamfer hybrid, if you can see it. It's really comfortable actually. And the pivots on this knife are bearing pivots. I know a lot of guys don't like bearing pivots. I personally prefer a perfectly tuned set of bushings, but I'm not really partial either way. Whatever's going to get me the least amount of handle play and guarantee I'm not going to have any blade rub, and I'm good to go. But the bearings on this knife are basically perfect. There is effectively zero handle play, and the bearings on this knife do have that like extremely minimal amount of resistance you almost want to have on a bearing bally. Sometimes when bearing ballies are really smooth, they can almost be over smooth to the point where it feels like it's getting away from you, but this doesn't do that. It feels really great. This is the third knife from Jason I've got to handle and check out, and even though I have to return it and don't get to keep it, I'm always grateful for the chance to check them out and bring you guys the video. I do wish I had my V2 Hellcat still, just so I could have done a comparison for you guys, and I actually really miss the V1 Hellcat I had. I did a review and a video on that way back if you wanted to check it out. That V1 just had such amazing, excellent character and feel to it. Even though it wasn't as good of a flipper as this Slimline or the V2 Hellcat that I had, I actually missed that more. But this Slimline Proto, it has that same type of feel and that same type of character to it. And this is only the fourth Proto in that lineup. This design is great and has excellent potential, and Jason's a great maker. I'm super excited to see what comes next from him. I'm going to put his Instagram in the info down below. It's definitely worth checking out. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time, hopefully not in another year.